Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. So today's reading is titled, What Have They Projected Onto You? And I have two piles here for you today, and I am going to be doing my podcast style reading, so you won't see me, but you will hear me. And before we get into picking the piles, let's talk a little bit about projection. So, what is projection? So, projection is when you ascribe one of your characteristics onto another person in a positive or negative way. And this usually takes place unconsciously because it's our shadow aspects, it's things that we don't really see about ourselves, but we easily see them in others. So that's what projection is. And yeah, now you can pick, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. Alrighty, we're gonna go ahead and get started with my lovely pile number one. So, pile number one, what have people projected onto you? And I also forgot to say that this reading will be about what people have projected onto you and how you can overcome that. So, I didn't add that part. So, yeah, pile number one, people have projected that you are timid, that you lack discernment, that you're unbalanced, you're defenseless, that you have made the wrong decisions regarding your lifestyle, your career, love life, etc. And lastly, that you're too sensitive. So, pattern number one, these are projections. Okay. These are not things that accurately describe you, but I feel like a lot of you have went through this mainly with your family. So let's get into the cards. Okay, pile number one. So I first want to look at the characteristics of the people who are projected onto you. So I already have some cards pulled here, and we're just going to look at those. We're just going to talk about them since you can't really see them. So number one, the first card that came out was Pisces here. So whenever I'm doing the planets and the zodiacs, please understand that I'm going to be reading them from the lower level, okay? Because I have the Pisces card here, the Venus card, which rules Taurus and Libra, okay? Then we have Saturn, which rules Capricorn and Aquarius, okay? So I'm going to be looking at the lower energies. So if you are one of these signs, please don't take it personally or get offended because I'm just talking about the lower aspects, okay? Okay, so with Pisces being here with the lower aspect, you could have somebody who is highly religious or highly spiritual, but in a way, their spiritualism or their religion was oppressive for you. So, for example, if I look at this from a standpoint of a woman's perspective, you could have grown up with family members that constantly slut shamed you, constantly made you seem like you're out here doing things or you're promiscuous when you're not, and then using the Bible to defend it like God said that's a sin. And if you do that, that's a sin. So some of you could have just had a lot of religious persecution, like a person persecuting you due to religious text. And this doesn't have to be just limited to Christianity. This could be different forms of religion, especially if you come from a family that is highly religious or highly spiritual here. Okay, that is the lower aspect, but it could also be a person that is delusional. Somebody may have had mental health problems here and just made it seem like it was you when it really wasn't. And moving on, we have the Venus card being here. So this characteristic could be a person that is very self-absorbed. They always want to look good. This could, for some of you, this could be like a toxic mother where your mom competes with you. If you're a man, it could be the same thing. Like your dad competes with you in terms of like looks, in terms of dating experiences, like stuff that a parent shouldn't be competing with their child for. Okay. Because I really get that this is parents. All right. And these could be grandparents also. Okay. Take what resonates here. But Venus rules over Taurus and Libra. So looking at those energies, Libra could be a person, the lower aspects of that Libra energy could be a person who just shares too much of other people's personal business, kind of like Gemini, but they're sharing things socially. So you could have had a parent or just a family member that told your business and it got around, and then somebody came back and told you, right? And then also, this could be a person that pressed you about your looks here or made you feel like you weren't beautiful enough, okay? And then with that Taurus energy, it could be a person that, you know, did a lot of gluttony. And if you don't know what gluttony is, it's basically like overindulgence. So this could be a person that maybe overindulged in food or overindulges in alcohol or some form of like, a recreational drug, okay? And then next we have Saturn here. So this could be a father figure. It doesn't have to be. It could be a mother figure here. But with the Saturn energy, this could be looking at the lower aspects. This could be a person that is a bully. Okay. And you could have had an older sibling that bullied you, an auntie, an uncle, a cousin here. But there's some relatives, that have bullied you and kind of outcasted you. Okay. Because when you look at Saturn, Saturn rules Capricorn, but also Aquarius. So all these signs I'm naming, you could be these signs, but as I said before, I'm reading the lower aspects, so don't relate that to you, okay? But with this Capricorn and Aquarius energy, what I've noticed about like Aquarius energy is that it can often be outcasted or ostracized for being different and eccentric. So that's why I'm saying that here. So you could have been made to feel like you didn't belong in your family, or your family here could be very cliquish, okay? And they could say things about you and gossip about you or just judge you very harshly here, okay? So those are the lower aspects of those signs. Those characteristics may or may not resonate, but please take what resonates, okay? And these are the characteristics of the people who have projected onto you. So you're gonna know individually who these people are, okay? So we're going to look at some more characteristics. So we literally do have Capricorn. So these people could be Capricorns. You could be a Capricorn here. The next card we have is Taurus, like we just talked about. You could be a Taurus. They could be a Taurus here. But this could also been somebody that like hoarded resources. So let's say you were adopted, right? This could have been a person that had money because of you, but never shared that money with you. So this could also be with that Venus energy, because Venus does represent money. This could be a person that spends a lot of money here, okay? And they may try to project that, you're spending your money in the wrong way, but it's really them, okay? The next card that we have is Virgo. So the characteristics of this is like somebody being hypercritical of you. Everything you do, it's like you probably felt like you were surveillanced a lot, like you were under surveillance, yeah. Because everything it was like pinpointed, because I had a ex like this. Like if I had just the smallest pimple they would see it because they were a Virgo, and it would make me feel bad about that for being less than perfect. But who's really perfect? That person wasn't even perfect. So I feel like you could have dealt with a family member who criticizes you and makes you feel like you're less than, but at the same time they have their own problems and struggles too, right? I feel like these are people that are ready to gossip about your situation, but they never take a radical look at themselves. They never look at themselves deeply. Okay. These could be, you could have some shallow family members. You could have some very materialistic family, because I'm really getting heavy that this is family. Okay. And for some of you, this could have been old classmates that bullied you, that projected onto you. So take what resonates. The next card we have, that's a characteristic of these people that are projected onto you, is the South Node. So you know that in astrology, the South Node represents our past life and who we used to be. The North Node represents our destiny and who we are called to be, right? So these people are living in their South Node, meaning that they're not living up to their North Node. They're not doing and fulfilling their divine mission. So these people are in the past. You're not in the past, pile number one. I feel like you've evolved since then. I feel like you've done a lot of introspection. And you need to give yourself a pat on the back, because it's really hard and tough for people to do that, because people want to see themselves as good people. And you could be a good person, but you can still be accountable. You can still look at the ways that your behavior is not benefiting you and other people. Okay. Okay. So now we're going to look at what they have projected onto you. So let's start with timid. So you could be somebody who's very outgoing, but I feel like you just have this energy where you're going to be open around certain people. And I feel like with certain family members, you're not that open, because you know that they gossip. You know that they tell your business. You know that they try to compete with you. So you keep your distance emotionally. Okay. Even if you're around them, you may not give too much, you may not speak too much, but you respect them, regardless. But it's like they have this projection of you that you're timid, but you're really not, because you've accomplished so many things. I feel like pal number one, you've surpassed a lot of people in your family, and that's why they try to come at you with these projections here. The next projection is lack of discernment. I don't think you have a lack of discernment, pal number one. I think your family has a lack of discernment. You can have a family that when they meet people, they automatically just start telling their business. They automatically get in good with them, and then they realize that that person was a fraud. And you were the one that always peeped it, right? You peep shit, pal number one. So you definitely do have discernment. With the Six of Swords being here, I feel like this goes to the fourth point, you being defenseless. And I feel like this This is also talking about some friendships that you've had as well. Okay. Take what resonates, pound number one, because it's giving heavy family energy, but there's some friendships popping up as well. And I say that because of just the energy that I'm feeling. Like I'm feeling Aquarius energy, and Aquarius rules over the 11th house. So the 11th house represents friends. So for some of you, these could be friends. And for others of you, these could be family members. Okay. Or it could be both. But with the Six of Swords being here, it's like you do walk away from the bullshit. You do distance yourself mentally if you have to, even if you have to be around those people for holidays or for family emergencies, weddings or funerals, etc. Like you know how to distance yourself. So you're not defenseless because that is your defense. That's your boundary. You do have boundaries. I feel like maybe in the past you were over giving, overly kind, but you're not that person anymore, pound number one. You've transcended that. And I feel like your family can't really recognize you fully because they're still living in the past. So they still see a past version of you. All right. The next card that we have is Two of Pentacles. So this goes back to the third point. This Two of Pentacles card is in reverse. So it's like they project onto you that you're unbalanced. But I really do feel like you're a balanced person. Like you know how to work and play. You can go out and have fun, but you're also going to come back and do the work, whatever it is that you do for work or whatever career you have. Like you are very determined. You're somebody who's stacking that paper. Okay. You're somebody, you take care of yourself, you take care of other people, and you still get the job done. Okay. So you're not an unbalanced person. This is just a projection. The next card that we have is the King of Swords in reverse. Okay. So I feel like this point goes back to the defenseless. Like you're not defenseless. I feel like they see you as that because maybe you come from a family that likes to fight. So because you're not like argumentative or because you're not a fighter, they could see you as weak, but you're really not. I feel like if you really were to lay hands, damage would be done, right? But you're just somebody who you know what's worth it and what's not worth it. So you don't give that much energy. And certain people can interpret that as you being scared or timid or defenseless, but it really is still a defense. Those are your defenses here, okay? The next card that we have is the Hierophant in reverse. So I feel like this goes to point number five. So the Hierophant in the upright is like you're making these new routines in your life, you're making these new rules for yourself. And it's like, with it being in reverse, I feel like it goes to point number four, like, not staying consistent with that routine or making the wrong decisions, but you're not making the wrong decision. This is a projection. I feel like pile number one, you have the guts to make those decisions, especially decisions that regard your future. You make those decisions. Until your family, it can look weird because I feel like they live life like so limited. That's the word I'm looking for. They live life so limited where you can only do this, you can only achieve this much, you can only love these types of people. But you stepped outside of that, okay? And you're not in those boxes. And I wanted to say also that you've stepped out of heteronormativity as well, okay? If you know what I'm talking about, like you're somebody who lives life on your own accord. You don't go by, okay, girls do this, boys do this. You could be a masculine woman here. You could be a feminine man here. You could be a masculine non-binary person. You could be a feminine non-binary person. Just take what resonates here, okay? I feel like you have an understanding of what it means to be yourself. You're an authentic person. So that is why you make these types of decisions and you follow your heart. Pound number one, you are more in alignment than you know here. And I feel like your family, because they're so, oh, everything is this, and that, they looking at your decisions as, oh, you've made the wrong decision. And it's like they wait for you to fail, but you never do. And you might have those times where you fall short of the glory. You may have those times where you make mistakes, yes, because you're human, but you still get back up. Like pound number one, you're resilient. You still get back up and do what it is you need to do to secure the bag, to take care of yourself and those who need it. Okay. And then the last point here is that you're too sensitive. I feel like you are just emotionally intelligent, pound number one. Like you are aware of what you're feeling, you are aware of the triggers. Like I feel like you're somebody who's probably very deep into psychology, attachment styles. You may have learned a lot about narcissism here, but it's like you are very well versed when it comes to emotions. And because your family is kind of like, they kind of give out this energy of we have to be tough, we don't feel anything, but it's like you are going to feel something. You're human. That's natural. But you could have family members that interpret that though as being too sensitive, and it's not. It's the truth is this, they're not sensitive enough here. And if these were friends, you could have had friends that tried to tell you that you're too sensitive, but they're the ones always coming to you with some bullshit. but they don't think that they're too sensitive for the way that they're overreacting. And I don't even like to use the word too sensitive, but in some cases it can apply. I would also say the word hypersensitive instead of too sensitive. But yeah, they project these things onto you, but you're somebody who knows how to regulate your emotions and you don't let them spill on other people. So now we're going to get to your advice, pal number one. How can you overcome these projections? Because you can. So the first card you have is options. So we just talked about this because it says unlimited, and I just said something about being limited. So it's kind of like you're the polar opposite from your family, pal number one, or you were the polar opposite from your friends. Some of you, these could even be exes, okay? An ex, because the Venus card here. But it's like it says, as I open to the abundant possibilities of my life's path, I'm reminded that I always have unlimited options. Life is a buffet, and I allow myself to choose whatever makes me happiest. Okay, that is the model that you have to live by. Pile number one, know that you can do whatever you want to do, even if it doesn't make sense to other people. You have options in this lifetime. You don't have to be limited. Don't limit yourself and keep making the right decisions for your life's path. Like sometimes our family could try to live through us, and try to make it seem, well, if I did this, this is a tradition. Like, no, I'm still an individual at the end of the day. The next card we have is vitality. So your advice here is to take care of your health. Take care of not just your physical health, but your emotional health. Take care of your physical health here. Take care of yourself because it's important, especially when you're dealing with family like this who just project nonstop and can never take an honest look at themselves. You have to protect your mental health. You have to take care of you. I feel like you already do that, pal number one, but just this is a reminder to keep doing that and keep taking care of yourself because you deserve all the love that you give so freely. I feel like you've given your family love freely. You've been very reliable. You've given your friends love freely, but how about putting that love into yourself because you deserve it the most? The next card we have is playfulness. So understand that we can't be so wrapped up in other people's thoughts about us. Like laugh at it, like find the humor in it. Find a way to laugh at it because that will really help you get through things. Like being a little bit more playful, especially with yourself, finding funny videos to watch, like adding more laughter into your life. That's the advice here, pal number one. Add more laughter into your life because excuse me, because it's like when you are laughing, it's like the anger can melt away. And whenever you're able to laugh, it's medicine. It's medicine. Trust me. Okay. Then the last part we have here is wonder. And this card is about allowing yourself to be in a state of wonder about your life. Like, yes, it's okay to make those decisions, but we can't pinpoint every single thing that's going to happen because you may, you know, create something and it may not go the way that it's supposed to, but that's okay. It's going to go the way that it was meant to. So understand that live live your life in a state of wonder. Understand that when you are on your path and you're doing what you're supposed to do, you're going to be in alignment. Sometimes we do want those answers and that reassurance, but living in a state of wonder helps you not to get stressed and worried about your future, regardless what your family say or regardless of how they turned out, regardless of how your friends and your exes turned out. You're still going to live the life you're supposed to live if you stay on your path. Nothing they say can take away God's path for you, to take away Spirit's path for you, because you're already in alignment here, okay? Keep yourself in alignment. Stay consistent with your dreams and your goals, regardless of what people say. Like, don't fold on yourself, pal number one. Period. But that was your reading. All right, pal number one. Please let me know in the comments whether or not you've overcome this projection and how you healed from it or how you're currently healing from it. And please like, comment, and subscribe. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Let's move on to our lovely pile number two. Okay, pile number two. What have people projected onto you? So in pile number one, I was getting like a combination of like family. Like if I could break it down, I was getting more so like 80% of family, 10% of friends, and 10% of exes. But in this pile, I'm not really picking up any family. I'm picking up exes and old friends. So 50% exes and 50% old friends. Okay, let's look at these cards. So it says here, People have projected that you are too serious, you can't have fun, you start things and you can't finish them, you don't finish them. You are stuck to certain people, places, and thought processes that you're sneaky, secretive, and judgmental. And like I told pal number one, these are not accurate statements about you, pal number two. These are just the projections that people have placed onto you. All right. So now let's look at the characteristics of the people who projected onto you. Okay. So number one, the first card that wanted to come out was Aquarius. Okay. So you could be an Aquarius, they could be an Aquarius. The second card that came out was Taurus. The third card that came out was Libra. The fourth card that came out was Virgo. So it is very similar to pile number one. I would recommend that if you're watching pile number two, go ahead and watch pile number one as well, because it's kind of giving a collective reading vibe. I didn't even intend for it to be like that, but similar cards came out. So I may say some of the same things I said in pile number one. So if you feel called to do so, which I do recommend, but you don't have to if this resonates with you. If this how to resonates with you more, you don't have to go watch it. But what I'm saying is, for some of you, it will be recommended for you too, okay? Because it's a lot of similarities. Now, let's read these energies of the cards, but remember, I'm going to be looking at the lower aspects, the shadow aspects, okay? And if you're any of these signs, please don't take it personal. I'm just talking about the lower aspects, all right? So with Aquarius, this could be the lower aspects could be a person that is stuck in their own perspective. This could be a person that they are a little bit oppressive with their perspective. It's like what I feel, even if they have no evidence to back this up, okay? If you're a woman, you could have just been dealing with a man that had weird philosophies and you were just like, where's the evidence to back this up? But they feel like it's right. You could have also had people who projected onto you who make you feel like what you think is crazy and weird, but it's really fucking genius. Like, because I feel like you could have had fake friends and exes steal your ideas. Like they'll talk bad about it first and then realize like, wow, that person really had a point, or that's a great idea. So with this lower aspect of Aquarius energy, you could have dealt with somebody who tried to make you feel like you were intellectually inferior. Okay. Moving on to the Taurus. Again, we talked about this in pile number one, but I'll say it again. The lower aspects of Taurus is overindulgent. So this could have been a person that you dated that was just overindulgent in sex. They could have been cheating on you with other people, or you have friends that were overindulgent where they spent a lot of money, or you spent a lot of money on these friends and these exes. Okay, take what resonates here. But these people were self-absorbed. It was like a me, me, me. And I feel like you were like a parental figure for these people, pile number two. Like for your exes, if you were a woman, you were a mother figure. If you were a man, you were a father figure to your friends and your exes. But if you're a non-binary person, you still held on to that parental role regardless of the gender. Okay, you still had that parental role, even if you don't identify as the father or the mother. You still had that parental type of guidance. You were a caretaker. That's the word I'm going to use. Okay, a caretaker. You were a caretaker for these people. Okay, and I feel like they overindulged in your energy as well. I feel like you probably felt drained all the time because it was an issue after an issue, but you couldn't come to these people when you had an issue, or they always minimized your issues when sometimes the things you were dealing with were actually worse than what they were dealing with. Okay. The next card we have is Libra. So definitely relationships here, definitely exes, but I feel like these relationships were very one-sided. Okay, you were the one doing most of the work here. Okay, and then with the Virgo card, very critical friends, very critical people. Like I had a friend like that once that was just really critical. Like I was so happy because I had wrote a poem and I had wrote like this book on Wattpad. If you don't know what Wattpad is, it's an app for writers. So if you love to write, I would recommend putting it on Wattpad. It's amazing. And it's like I remember it was like my first time writing on there. I was like about a freshman in high school, and I was just trying to tell my friend like I'm so excited, like I'm happy, and she was just like correcting me about what I wrote in my book and saying, well, I don't agree with this and I don't agree with that. Like that's what this vibe is giving me. Pound number two. You could have had a friend like that where when you shared your goals and your dreams and your ambitions, they critique them and tried to make you feel like, well, you're not going to be able to do that because this, and that. But it's like, who are you to tell me? Like it was fine for her to have her opinion, but it's just like the way she went about it was rude and it was degrading. So I feel like you have dealt with even exes here that have degraded your dreams and put the flashlight on you and always talked about your mistakes, but never looked at theirs. Okay. So these are the characteristics. Let's look at some more characteristics. Pile number two, you also could have been having like partners that were jealous of you, whether you're male, female, or non binary, people jealous of your beauty because you're very beautiful, but you're very beautiful inside and out. Pile number two. That's the thing. You're a beautiful inside and out. Okay. I'm really getting that vibe. Like you just are a beautiful person. Like you are the definition and the epitome of beautiful. Okay. And it goes beyond your physical appearance. It's your heart, it's your soul, it's who you are at your core. Okay. So let's look at some more characteristics. So we got Venus again, like in pile number one. That's why I said these readings are like very similar. So definitely people you dated, and some of these ex-friends could have been attracted to you, pal number 2, so if you ever had a vibe like, "I don't know if this person likes me," they did, okay? And because they were too embarrassed to admit that, they start projecting negative things onto you, okay? About I feel like you could have had, friends that tried to say you were sneaky, but really they were sneaky because they felt, a romantic way about you and didn't tell you, and when people feel guilty, it's like they say that you're doing what they're doing and you're really not, okay? And for others of you, could have had a partner that tried to say you were sneaky and that you were cheating, but it was really them. And for some of you, your partner was cheating with people you knew. Like I had a person like that too. Like we all go to the same school. Like we not you act like I'm not gonna find out. Like I'm not gonna peep it or see it. Like some of the people you were dealing with, pal number two, like really felt like they was just so clever, but getting caught up. Like, come on now. Anyways. This is somebody you should laugh at, pal number 2, just these types of people because it's hilarious. With people think that they could do sneaky shit and then try to say it's you, but it's really them, and then they never I feel like you dealt with people who are just never accountable. I feel like you have some scorned exes and friends, and to this day, it's your fault it ended. Like, they can never see, like, "You know what? I was a hater. You know what? I was a cheater." Like, they could never, like, see themselves in those roles, but they were in those roles, and most likely they're still a hater. They're still a cheater. Ain't nothing changed. Okay. So for some of you, somebody needed to hear that. That's why I did that. All right. So let's move on. So the next card we have is Libra. So we literally have Libra twice, and it says relationships, the beauty. Do it with your partners. So your partner could have had multiple partners, or some of you could have been involved in a partnership where there was more than one person, and you enjoyed it for a little bit, but it didn't work out the way you wanted it to. Okay. So take what resonates. That's for a few of you here. You could have been in I always mix up polygamy and polyamory, so I don't want to use those words, but I will say that you could have been involved in a partnership where it was three of you, maybe one man and two women, or two men and one woman. Take what resonates here. You could also have been non-binary with other non-binary people. So just take what resonates here. So this is definitely exes that have projected these things onto you. The next card we have is the 11th house. So I talked about the 11th house in pound number one. So I'm gonna just stop repeating myself, but because if you know, you know. All right. So with the 11th house being here, it rules over Aquarius, and Aquarius came out. So these are definitely your old friends because it literally says your circle of friends, associations, freedom. These are people that you freed yourself from here. Okay. You know, you are no longer associated with these people. Okay. I feel like these people try to like look you up on social media, but most of them are blocked, or most of them like they can't even reach where you've gone, because I feel like you've gone on a self-love journey, pound number 2, like, you've gone on this healing journey where you are loving yourself and you're not afraid of people abandoning you anymore, pound number 2, and if you're not in that energy just yet, I feel like you're gonna get to a place where you're content with you, regardless of who stays or who goes. So, the next, characteristics is Cancer, so these could have been, feminine energies, but also, just emotionally manipulative people here. They played on your emotions because they knew that you were a kind person here. And what the card says is attitudes from the past. So they project, like point number 3, stuck to certain people, places, and thought process. They project that you're stuck in the past, but it's really them. Okay, it's not you, because I feel like you're somebody who you're all about self-development. You may really love to read like a lot of self-development books, like you really like to grow and change and shift. And these people try to make it seem like you're stuck in the past, but it's really them, right? It's really them, okay? I feel like Power 2, you might have a personality like you're animated, okay? Because the way I'm acting, like in pile number one, I was really chill, but in this reading, I feel like a little bit more animated. So take what resonates, okay? The next card that we have here is the sixth house, and the sixth house is ruled by Virgo, and we got Virgo here. So these are people that were just very critical. These are people that also could have critiqued your body, like made you feel bad for having like, you know, a stomach or oh, your boobs are sagging, like natural breast sag. I don't care what nobody says. Natural breast sag. Stretch marks are beautiful. Cellulite is natural, okay? I feel like you could have had partners and friends that body shamed you, okay? And it could be the opposite. Let's say you're a little bit more petite, okay? And this could be for men, women, and non binary people. You were just a little bit more petite, and you could have had friends telling you, you need to eat more, or exes, you need to eat more, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to work out, and making you feel bad. I feel like they could have made you think you have body dysmorphia here, but I think they actually have that because I had an ex like that always made me feel like I was just bigger than what I was. And it's so scary because when I look back at my pictures from high school, I was so small. And that person just kept on making me telling me that you're not. And that person literally told me, like, you don't have a nice body. And I was just so small, and that person made me feel like you're overweight, you need to lose weight. And I was just confused. So that's projection, okay? Understand that that is projection. And there's nothing wrong with having a different body type than societal standards, but it's like when a person is constantly making you think and see yourself in a way that you don't actually look, that's dangerous. And you have to and you have to stay away from people like that, but also stay aware of people like that, okay? Because it's projection, pound number two. And I feel like they could have projected onto you. You could have also changed your diet here, and they could have made you feel bad about that or tried to judge you for that, okay? So those are the characteristics of these people. Let's look at what they've projected onto you. So the first card we have is the Empress. We have a lot of like beauty energy here, right? Beauty, because we have Venus, we have Libra, we literally have Libra and Taurus, but we have Libra twice because Venus rules over Taurus and Libra. And then the Empress is Venusian energy, but it's in reverse. So I feel like these people, these exes, these old friends were jealous of your beauty. I feel like you have an undeniable beauty, but it's also a beauty of the heart. And I feel like it's the way people love you that they're jealous of. I feel like you're somebody that people do have fun with. So the fact that you're too serious and you can't have fun, that is a projection. That's not true. Okay. With the Three of Pentacles in reverse, this goes to the point of you being a sneaky person, but you're not a sneaky person. What's really funny is these people are sneaky because a lot of things were said behind your back. A lot of things took place behind your back here, pound number two. You could have had your friends that hooked up with your ex, when y'all were dating, shit like that. Okay. Take what resonates here, but it's a projection because you're not really a sneaky person. I feel like you're an intuitive person as well. Like I said about pound number one, because I get that energy. And it's like you picked up on shit and you were just like, peace out. And I feel like it kind of scared them a little bit because they're like, how did she know? Or how did he know? And if you're non-binary, they were like, how did they know? You knew because you felt the vibe. And a lot of, like I said, these people really thought they was slick and they thinking you're sneaky. Let's say, for example, you caught your partner cheating by looking on their profile, but let's say y'all both agreed to give each other the social media password, and then when you looked and they were like, "You're sneaky, you were looking through my stuff," but y'all literally gave each other's passwords. So how is that being sneaky? That's a scenario I'm getting here, okay? But for others of you, it's just the way you found out. They just feel like, oh, you must have been doing some digging because how did you find out? You found out because you peeped it. You found out because your intuition alerted you, okay? Pattern number two, you have that type of intuition. It's like a notification. You know how you get notifications on your phone? That's how your intuition is. It's always going to notify you when something isn't right. The next card we have is the Two of Cups, followed by the Eight of Cups. So, yes, these are exes that you've walked away from, friends that you've walked away from, friends that have had crushes on you and you didn't reciprocate that energy. But yeah, like these are people from your past here. Okay. And I feel like you're somebody who's very loving here because you got a lot of Libra energy. So you could have been a giver, you know? You could have been a giver. Somebody, and you probably could have gave people like outfit ideas. You could have really gave some of these people your clothes. Like I feel like you have a beautiful aesthetic as well. Okay. You're fashion oriented here. And they could have bit off your style a little bit. But yeah. with with the Two of Cups and the Eight of Cups, they could say that, you're stuck to certain people, but you walk away. How am I stuck to somebody by walking away? But I will also say that because they're blocked on social media for some of you, they could equate that to you being like stuck to certain people, places, and thought processes, but it's not. Blocking is a way to set a boundary and let the person know that I do not want you to contact me. And certain people can take that as, oh, you pressed, or I won because they blocked me, but really it's a form of a boundary. Right. When you get to a mature state, you realize that it's a boundary. It's a form of self-care. It's not about being petty. It's about having peace, right? That's what a lot of people don't get. But point number two, I get that you're a peaceful person. You're also somebody who likes to share with other people. These are people you share with. These are people you invested in. Okay. But now you're gonna learn to invest in yourself, pound number two, because you deserve all this love that you give. Like I told pound number one, you deserve that. Your love is not just meant for other people, but it's meant for yourself as well. So they could have also projected with this Two of Cups that you were not a good partner here, that you were the one cheating, but it really was them, okay? They could have also made it seem like, oh, you always walk out when things get hard. Like, no, when you're cheating on me with people that are my friends, when you're cheating on me and going on dating apps, when you're cheating on me and doing me wrong, I have a right to walk away. I feel like pound number two, these people made you feel like you didn't have a right to walk away. You didn't have a right to end that relationship or that friendship, but you did. Because I feel like there's a lot of stuff that took place behind your back. And I feel like they project that you're too serious and that you can't have fun because you're somebody who's very ambitious, like you work to get things done. So certain people can interpret that as, oh, you always want to work, you always want to read a book, but you have goals, pound number two. That is why. And you're not somebody who's actually too serious. I feel like because like also, yeah, in the relationships, you could have been somebody that really tried to like communicate. You were not the type that wanted to do petty shit like, oh, I'm gonna block you when we get into it. I'm gonna go on Facebook and talk about you. Like you were really like very mature individual, pound number two. And I feel like they interpreted that as you being too serious and projected that onto you, which is not true. Okay. The last card we have here is the Queen of Pentacles. So with the Queen of Pentacles being here, this is about stability, okay? And I feel like they could have projected onto you that, oh, you're stable now, so you think you can judge people. So this goes to the last point of you being judgmental. I feel like you're somebody who has your shit together. You're somebody, and if you don't, you're getting it together. Like you're somebody who you give off heavy Capricorn energy because it's like you're trying to set up things for the long term. You're trying to create stability for the long term. You're somebody who is thinking about your future, thinking about the things that need to be in place. You're somebody who is breaking generational cycles and curses within your family line. Okay, pound number two. If you needed to hear that, like you are. With this Queen of Pentacles energy, it's like you have this regal energy, whether you are male, female, or non-binary, like you have that energy of respect and authority, and it naturally comes with you. And I feel like certain people can get intimidated by that because they don't possess that same kind of energy. Okay. But yeah, I feel like they could try to make it seem like you're judgmental, but you're not here. You're not a judgmental person. Like certain people will get around you and they'll judge themselves. It's not that you're judgmental, they're just the ones that are judging themselves. Okay. But yeah, that is what they have projected onto you, pound number two. But these are not statements that you should take to heart, that you should believe about you. Because if you read this whole list, I'm pretty sure you're going to find people in your life, that used to be in your life, excuse me, that had these traits. Okay. Old friends and exes. I'm pretty sure. So now we're going to look at the advice to end this reading. So the first card that we have is the ultimate potential. So your advice here, pile number two, is to live a life of your ultimate potential. If you're not satisfied with the friendship or relationship, you are allowed to leave. You don't have to settle and stay in a box with people who use you for their personal gain, okay? There's nothing you can't do, pound number two. You just have to believe in yourself and put your mind to it. Know that you're worth so much more. You're capable of so much more. Okay. The next card that we have was trust. Okay. Trust yourself. Trust your gut, pound number two. Like I said, your intuition is like a notification. When you get that notification about a person, a place, or an environment, places and environments are the same thing. When you get that, that feeling about a person, a place, an organization, let's use a new word, an organization, whatever it is, when you get those vibes, listen to yourself. I feel like you've been gaslighted so much by these people that it's hard for you, pound number 2, to really tune in, but when you feel something and you're right, look at how many times you felt the weird vibe from a friend and they turned out to be a hater. You felt the weird vibe from an ex, they turn out to be cheating or they turn out to be abusive, right? So listen to those gut feelings because they are messengers, all right? That's your advice. The next card we have is get centered, okay? So pile number 2, you will really benefit from meditating. You would really benefit from clearing your mind and not overthinking, because I feel like you're very much a why person and I'm the same way. Like, you want to know why people did certain things, why they said certain things, why they act a certain way. But power number 2, sometimes people don't even know the reason why they do shit, they just do it. So don't, beat yourself up about what you did because you didn't do anything, and don't obsess over what they did. Get to a place where you can fully let it go. And it's going to take you some time here, but meditation will really help you. Listening to certain sound frequencies that correlate to the heart chakra will also help you here, okay? Because I'm also getting the vibe of like you wanting to close up your heart, pound number 2, because you just been through so much shit with these people, but just realize that there are good people in the world, okay? I know you've met some shitty people, but there are good people, okay? And you can still have an open heart with boundaries. You can still have an open heart and have discernment, okay? The two go hand in hand. The last card that you have here is self love. And I did say you're going on this self love journey earlier. So love yourself, power number 2. Continue to love yourself. Continue to love yourself into new heights. Continue to love yourself into a better life and a better version of you, okay? Continue to focus on giving yourself that nourishment. Like power number 2, think of yourself as a plant. Give yourself the water and the sunlight and the plant food and everything that goes into a plant. Give yourself that and watch yourself grow. Give yourself that love and those affirmations. You will benefit from affirmations, like I told pound number 1, like speaking highly of yourself, speaking positivity to yourself will really help you, because I feel like, excuse me, I feel like these people like projected so much onto you that it distorted who you really were. You're not what these people say. You're very loving, you're very kind, you're very loyal, okay? You're very genuine. So don't underestimate that and love yourself. Continue to nurture your good qualities, but also work on your shadow aspects as well and help them come into an equilibrium, because we are both light and darkness. That is the duality of the world and the duality of all living things. All right, pound number 2, thank you so much for sitting through and being patient. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let me know down in the comments if this resonated and how you are currently overcoming it or how you have overcome the projection. Peace.